Welcome to the Fantasy Football Funhouse, where superheroes meet your fantasy football lineup. Get ready for superpowered insights, jaw-dropping predictions, and game-changing strategies that'll have you drafting like a true champion. Whether you're a rookie or a seasoned pro, we're here to help you save your fantasy season and claim victory. So assemble your team because the Fantasy Football Funhouse is ready to take you to the top. I'm here with my dad, Grindberg, and today the show will be better than ever. Hit the intro, Grindberg.
Let's go, Mason.
Man, I just love that intro.
Yeah, it's really good. Shout out Dev for that one, and shout out Dukes for helping us with all the dressings. Once again, welcome back, heroes and heroines of the fantasy football universe. It's time for another edition of Fundamentals, where we break down the core concepts that will turn you into a fantasy football all-star. Today, we're tackling one of the more important aspects of building a championship winning team, scoring formats. Just like every superhero has their own unique abilities, each fantasy league has its own set of scoring that will have, totally change and finding your way to draft and play. So whether your league is all about rewarding every catch, PPR, point per reception, finding a balance of half PPR, so half a point per reception, or focusing on big touchdowns in standard non-PPR leagues, understanding these formats is key to dominating your competition. So let's suit up and dive into the world of fantasy football scoring, because mastering these fundamentals is your first step to victory.
So, what is fantasy football scoring? In the world of fantasy football, you create a team of real-life NFL players and earn points based on the performance in their actual games. Think of your fantasy team as a superhero squad, which each player having their own set of powers. In some leagues, your players get points for scoring touchdowns and running yards, but in others, you can score extra points for making a catch. These additional points are what make the difference between a regular player and superhero level player on your team.
So the secret power of PPR, so point per reception. So one of the most important powers in fantasy football is the ability to score points for catches. In full PPR, points per reception leagues, every time one of your players catches a pass, you get 1 point. That's like getting an extra power up every time they make a move. This can be a game changer for guys like wide receivers, like Spider-Man, and running backs like Flash, who catch a lot of passes. Suddenly, players who aren't necessarily great at scoring touchdowns can catch passes all day long and become much more valuable.
Now, what about half PPR? The middle ground of all superheroes. In a half PPR league, things get a little bit more balanced. Here, every catch is worth half a point. It's like getting a half power boost every time your player catches a pass. Well, it's not as big as a full 1 point boost in PPR leagues. It's still enough to make players who catch passes more valuable. It's like a little balancing the scales between the speed of the Flash and the strength of Thor. It gives everyone a chance to shine.
Now, the last league that you're going to be talking about as far as scoring metrics go, that is a standard non-point per reception league. These are the old school heroes. The guys that got a lot of gray hair like your dad, Mason. These are what we brought up playing. So PPR, half PPR leagues, they weren't always around when I first started playing. I started playing in a non-PPR league way before you were born, my man. So before all those extra points for catches, fantasy football was a much simpler game. In standard non-PPR leagues, players only earn points for yards and touchdowns. Just like how classic superheroes like Spider-Man, Superman, and Batman didn't need all those extra gadgets. They relied on their pure strength. In these leagues, the players who score the most touchdowns are the true heroes. Running backs who run the ball into the end zone or quarterbacks who throw touchdown pass get the most value. If you love traditional superheroes, this might be the scoring format for you. So the bottom line, the fantasy football is all about having fun, right, Mason?
Yep.
So whether it's a PPR league,
half PPR, or standard non-PPR, the goal is to make the best choices to build a team that scores the most points.
Interesting. I love that idea. So pick your format, choose your heroes, and get ready for an epic fantasy football adventure. So we talked about the 3 types of leagues there, Mace. Now, what about a game? Remember our game of the week, our super powered game of the week. Let's get into it, buddy.
This week's battle is between the Houston Texans and the Detroit Lions. Is no ordinary showdown. It's a battle of epic proportions where 2 rising superhero squads clash for supremacy. On one side, we have the Houston Texans, led by their young, fearless quarterback, C.J. Stroud, who's quickly becoming the league's most electrifying hero. With his uncanny ability to dodge defenders and fire lasers downfield, Stroud is like a young Captain Marvel, lighting up the skies with each play. Alongside him, rookie sensation. 1 second.
What do you mean? You're doing fine. There was a rookie sensation last year we talked about in our squad. That was CJ Stroud. Now Tank Dell, and now there's other situations here that we got to talk about. That is an unstoppable duo. CJ Stroud and Tank Dell right now are playing pretty good football without Nico Collins, but looks like Nico might be back. So they may be, a lot of scoring points in this game, right? So there's a lot of upside here in this game. And the Detroit Lions, they're no slouch either, right, Mace?
Nope.
Okay, well, let's keep it going then. What is our hero and our villains of the week, my man? So let's keep going on it.
In the epic battle between heroes and villains, the Fantasy Football League becomes the ultimate battleground, where champions rise and dark forces sheen from the sidelines. Each game is a clash of titans, where the strategy, strength, and the power of choice determine whether the good guys will save the season or let the evil reign supreme. First up is me with Tyrone Tracy. Tyrone Tracy this week he's going to be great. Tyrone Tracy emerged as the ultimate fantasy football hero, swooping in like a true champion when his team needed him most. With the tendency of a superhero and the agility of a seasoned pro, Tracy showcased why he's more than just a player. He's the game-changing force that can turn the tide in the toughest matchups. Just like a caped crusader saving the day, Tracy put in a performance that made fantasy owners every stand up and take notice, proving that even the most unexpected heroes can rise to the occasion.
So would you say his performance wasn't just good, it was legendary?
Yeah.
With a combination of clutch catches, impressive yardage, and unshakable determination, he delivered a performance that would make any fantasy manager feel like they had their own personal sidekick when he ran all over the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 weeks ago. He got banged up in that game and didn't quite play so well last week, but that's coming off an injury. This week, his contributions were more than just stats. They're going to be in his favor. What's going to make him a big situation this week? What's going to make him good? Why?
What truly makes Tyrone Tracy the hero of the week is his ability to embody the essence of a superhero, the willingness to fight until the very end and to never give up, no matter how tough the odds are. This week, he didn't just play the game, he dominated it, turning his team's fortune around in a spectacular fashion. Just like any superhero, Tyrone Tracy proved that when you have the heart and the grit, anything is possible. even in the unpredictable world of fantasy football.
So this week they're playing a pretty good matchup. They got the Carolina Panthers, who give up a ton of points to fantasy.
On the ground.
Yeah, so you're looking at a really good start here.
Most yards in the league.
So for me, Mace, my hero of the week is going to be DeAndre Swift, and he's my superhero because he's ready to swoop in and save your lineup. And over the last 6 weeks, only Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara have outperformed Swift in terms of fantasy points, with Swift averaging 21 points per game. He's been on a hot streak. He's like a hero on a mission, racking up with speed and precision, massive totals. So while his week 9 performance was a slight setback with just 82 yards on the ground against the Cardinals, he's in a really good position this week against the Patriots, right, Mace?
Yeah, Swift's matchup against the New England Patriots is a prime opportunity for him to shine. The Patriots have struggled against the run, allowing the most rushing yards and the second most rushing touchdowns over the past 4 weeks. With 1.83 yards before contact and 54.7% of his yards coming after breaking tackles, Swift is like a superhero, strong and agile, ready to break through. He's poised to exploit New England's weak defense, just like a hero taking down a villain by targeting their biggest weakness.
So even if Swift isn't scoring touchdowns, he's still a reliable fantasy asset, just like Iron Man, who's always got a gadget or a backup plan ready. In week 9, despite being bottled up on the ground, Swift caught all 6 of his targets for 31 yards in the air. So proven he can do damage on multiple levels in multiple ways. His ability to contribute both as a rusher and a receiver gives him a high fantasy floor. So look for him to have a big game with his mix of speed, strength, and versatility. Swift, a superhero, should be in your lineup, ready to conquer the matchup ahead. So we're looking good here, Maze, with our heroes. But what about our villains now? These guys coming in our lineup, they're potentially going to, look like they're going to be our hero, but they might come in and, hurt our lineup. So who would be the first guy that you're going to be maybe, a little bit worried about starting this week, bud?
Ladd McConkey is about to become my fantasy football villain of the week. And if you're paying attention, you'll see exactly why. It's not that McConkey is a bad player, far from it. But this week, he's running straight into a buzzsaw. The Titans' defense is one of the best in the league when it comes to shutting down the pass. And McConkey is about to feel the full force of relentless coverage. This defense has been a nightmare for wide receivers all season long, and there's no reason to believe this week will be any different. It's as if the Titans' defense has developed a superpower for snuffing out passing plays before they even have a chance to develop.
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing pretty good, and this defense is something to behold. They've been suffocating quarterbacks with their elite coverage and pass rush, making life miserable for some of the top wideouts in the game. Their secondary is tight, reading plays like they're straight out of a playbook. So it's like they even have like a premonition, like a superpower of seeing playbooks before they happen. So I'm a little bit worried about Ladd McConkey too. So as we head into this matchup, Mace, is it clear McConkey is going to face one of the toughest defenses in the league?
Yeah, the Titans are playing at a level that most defenses only dream of, and McConkey's chances of breaking free feel slimmer by the minute. With their smothering coverage and relentless pass rush, it's hard to see him getting the numbers he needs to be a fantasy hero this week. For that reason, Ladd McConkey is undeniably my villain of the week. Sorry, you don't want him to be my hero.
All right, so I'm going to head up and I'm going to talk about my villain, and it's because of a situation here that's evolving in the Dallas Cowboys passing offense. They just lost their starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, for at least 6 to 8 weeks, which is going to be really bad news for the pass catchers, including CeeDee Lamb. But Jake Ferguson is shaping up to be the villain in your lineup heading into week 10, but not in the way you'd want him to be. Without Dak Prescott and with CeeDee Lamb dealing with that shoulder injury, Ferguson's chances of stepping up may look appealing at first glance, but the reality is he's more likely to be a nightmare than a hero for your team this week. In that last Sunday's game against the Falcons, Ferguson had a solid stat line, 7 catches, 71 yards, good enough to keep up some optimism alive. But now, facing the Eagles, one of the toughest defenses against tight ends, his ceiling is incredibly limited, Mace.
The Eagles have been dominant against tight ends, allowing just 8 fantasy points per game and no touchdowns this season. With Cooper Rush likely starting in place of Dak Prescott, Ferguson's volume may rise, but the Eagles' tough defense will make it hard for them to produce. They've already shut down bigger threats like Evan Ingram, which doesn't bode well for Ferguson, who lacks chemistry with Rush.
Yeah. So this week, Ferguson is shaping up to be my villain. Just a different kind of villain, more of a trap than a hero. So this lack of consistency and quarterback play in a brutal matchup against the stingy defense is a recipe for disaster. So if you have other tight end options, it's better to sit Ferguson this week and avoid the headache. So don't let the promise of increased volume lure you into a dangerous start. So this is a villainous situation that will most likely hurt your lineup than help it. So let Ferguson ride the pine this week, and let's get somebody else in our lineup. So Mace, let's move on to our top 5s of the week. And this week we're going to talk about Dynasty quarterbacks. So let's get you started off here.
My number 1 Dynasty quarterback is Jayden Daniels. He is a phenomenal rusher and has been one of the best quarterbacks this year.
Mm-hmm. Pretty bold being a rookie there. So who's your number 2?
Josh Allen. He is a big deep threat and can still run the ball as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it might sound like I'm biased towards rushing quarterbacks because my third one is Lamar Jackson, who's practically a running back, but he's got a good arm as well, and he runs the ball a lot, so he's going to get you a lot of fantasy points on the ground. My number 4 is CJ Stroud. He has pinpoint accuracy, and he's just very good with very limited interceptions. And 5, this one might surprise you. He is a rookie for the Patriots and has only started like 3 or 4 games. I'm going with Drake May. I'm really happy about that.
Mm-hmm. He looks like a mini Josh Allen. So for me, I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson with the way he is playing right now. It's hard to say no to that. I mean, if you look at what he did on Thursday night against the Bengals, he's just coming up and he's putting up big performances week after week. So Lamar Jackson is my number 1, and my number 2 would be Josh Allen because he's not done anything to supplant that situation. So he is my number 2. I'm going to keep Jalen Hurts in the top 3 just based off of the way the Eagles are playing right now and the need for Hurts. He's been able to prove it this year, still being very, very much needed in the red zone and getting those tush-push touchdowns. My number 4 was going to be Jayden Daniels. So I think he is poised to really hit the scene running right now. And if you look at what he's done his rookie season, it's been very, very prolific. So great for Jayden Daniels. And then my number 5 is going to be, let's go with Patrick Mahomes. Because the guy is now getting a weapon back that he deserves, and they're playing good football. So he's always going to be in that conversation, with the team around him. So yeah, man.
Let's not ignore that Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow dropped 88 points combined.
Yeah, that's insane. It was a crazy night last night, on Thursday night. So yeah, Mace. The Funhouse is now concluded for our 4th show now. So we're getting our steam here. Hopefully you folks are enjoying the show. Remember to like and to subscribe to the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. We're always bringing the heat there. That's a great community filled with people just like you and me who love fantasy football, love fantasy sports, and it's not with all the fillers of Twitter or all those other social spaces. So let's hear from our sponsor.
We are here. We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to fantasysportsadvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to fantasysportsadvice.com today.
That's right. You go there, you subscribe, you get a pro membership, you get access to all our awesome tools. You get access to maybe you'll get into a jersey league next year. And we'll have to update our jersey league. Our Tyreek Hill jersey league is, coming on strong, and hopefully we get a good push. Maybe we'll see a Tyreek Hill jersey in the Lindbergh household at some point.
I have one win. That's not very good.
No. But we'll have to talk about trades maybe in our next episode and talk about, how important they are and making the right decision and understanding the right stuff when those happen. So from all of us here on the Fantasy Football Funhouse, on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, we hope you win, folks.
We hope you win.
Have a great weekend and enjoy the games.
Peace.